Hello, everyone. Today, I have a powerful story for you. It's not just for your listening practice, but also to motivate you. The story is called Nothing is Free, and it will show you that hard work and determination can change lives. There was a young man named Daniel, 20 years old, living in a small, quiet town surrounded by mountains. Daniel carried ambitious dreams in his heart. He wanted to own a chain of restaurants and become a successful entrepreneur. But life wasn't easy for him. Daniel's family was struggling to pay the bills each month. His father, Thomas, was a mechanic, and his mother, Helen, cleaned houses to make ends meet. Daniel's younger sister, Emily, was just 10 and looked up to him as her hero. One cold evening, Daniel sat outside his small house, staring at the stars. He murmured quietly to himself, "I want to give my family a better life. But how do I start when we barely have enough to survive?" The next day, Daniel shared his dreams with his father. Thomas sighed and said, "Daniel, dreams are not free. If you want something, you have to fight for it. Start with what you have, even if it's small." Daniel thought deeply about his father's words. Then, a sudden idea flashed in his mind. He noticed that in his town, people loved fresh bread but had to travel to a bakery far away. He decided to start selling fresh bread locally. But there was a problem. Daniel had no money to buy the bread. He decided to take a chance and approach the bakery's owner, Mr. Brown. Daniel walked miles to meet Mr. Brown, a grumpy old man who rarely trusted anyone. With confidence, Daniel said, "Mr. Brown, I want to sell your bread in my town, but I don't have money to buy it up front. Can you trust me for 1 week? I will sell the bread, return your money, and keep a small profit." Mr. Brown raised an eyebrow. "And why should I trust you, young man?" he asked. Daniel replied firmly, "Because I am determined, and I will work hard to prove myself." After a long pause, Mr. Brown said, "All right, I'll give you bread for 1 week. If you fail to pay me back, don't bother coming here again." Daniel was thrilled. Early the next morning, he carried the bread back to his town and set up a small stand near the park. He greeted every passerby with energy and a smile, saying, "Fresh bread, warm and delicious." At first, people were hesitant. They didn't know if the bread was good. But Daniel offered free samples and soon had his first customer. By the end of the day, he had sold all the bread and made a small profit. That evening, he returned to Mr. Brown and paid him back. The old man nodded and said, "You kept your word. Come back tomorrow." From then on, Daniel worked tirelessly from early morning until night. He woke up at 4 a.m., walked to the bakery, carried bread to his town, and sold it with passion. After 2 months, he had saved enough money to buy a small cart, making it easier to transport more bread. One day, a customer suggested, "Daniel, why don't you bake your own bread? You're good at selling, but if you bake, you'll make more profit." This idea excited Daniel, but it also scared him. He had never baked anything in his life. This was the moment where Daniel realized, nothing worthwhile in life comes free. Not success, not knowledge, not growth. If I want to succeed, I must take risks and learn. Daniel couldn't stop thinking about the idea of baking his own bread. If he could bake, he wouldn't have to rely on Mr. Brown, and his profit would grow. But there was one big problem. He didn't know how to bake. Daniel decided to ask Mr. Brown for help. The next morning, after delivering his payment, Daniel said, "Mr. Brown, can you teach me how to bake?" The old man frowned. "Why should I teach you? If you bake, you won't buy from me anymore. That's bad for my business." Daniel looked at him and said, "You're right, but I won't forget the man who gave me my first chance. If I succeed, I'll make sure to help your bakery too." Mr. Brown thought for a moment, then said, "Fine, but baking isn't easy. It takes time, patience, and hard work. If you're ready for that, I'll teach you." The lessons began early the next morning. Daniel arrived at the bakery at 3 a.m. before the sun was up. Mr. Brown showed him how to mix flour, knead the dough, and bake it perfectly. At first, Daniel struggled. His hands hurt from kneading, and his bread came out too hard or too soft. One day, after ruining another batch of bread, Daniel sat down, feeling defeated. He said to himself, "Maybe I'm not good enough for this. Maybe I should give up." But then he remembered his father's words, "Dreams are not free." He realized that every mistake was teaching him something new. Giving up was not an option. The next day, Daniel went back to the bakery with even more determination. He practiced every single step carefully. Slowly, his bread started improving. After 2 weeks, Mr. Brown handed him a loaf and said, "This is perfect, Daniel. You're ready." Daniel was overjoyed. He rented a small oven and began baking bread at home. His family watched him with admiration by his hard work. Emily, his little sister, helped him pack the bread, and his mother made tea for him while he worked late into the night. Soon, Daniel wasn't just selling bread. He started making cookies and pastries too. People in the town loved his products. They said, "Daniel's bread tastes better than anything we've had before." But success wasn't easy. One day, a new bakery opened in the town, run by a young man named Ryan. Ryan had a big, fancy shop with colorful signs and decorations. People were curious and started buying from him instead. Daniel noticed his sales dropping. He felt scared. What if he lost everything he worked so hard for? But instead of panicking, Daniel decided to improve. He listened to his customers and asked, "What do you like about Ryan's bakery? What can I do better?" Some said, "Ryan's shop looks clean and pretty." Others said, "His cakes have beautiful designs." Daniel realized he needed to grow, not just as a baker, but as a businessman. Using his savings, Daniel painted his cart, added bright decorations, and started offering free samples of his new pastries. He even learned how to decorate cakes by watching videos in the library. Slowly, customers returned to him. One evening, an elderly woman came to Daniel and said, "I've seen many young men give up when times get hard, but you didn't. That's why we trust you." Her words filled Daniel with pride. Months passed, and Daniel's business grew. He saved enough money to rent a small shop. It wasn't as big as Ryan's, but it was warm and welcoming. He named it Daniel's Fresh Bakes. Every morning, he woke up before sunrise, baked fresh bread, and opened his shop with a smile. His parents and sister helped him. Emily, now 11, loved talking to customers, and Helen managed the accounts. But Daniel knew this wasn't the end of his journey. He wanted to reach more people, make his family proud, and prove to himself that anything is possible with hard work. Daniel's Bakery, Daniel's Fresh Bakes, was becoming the heart of the town. People loved his fresh bread, cakes, and pastries. Business was growing, and his family was proud of him. But life wasn't done testing Daniel. One stormy night, as Daniel was closing his shop, he noticed smoke coming from the bakery. He rushed inside and saw that a small fire had started near the oven. He quickly grabbed water and managed to stop the flames, but much of his equipment was damaged. The next morning, when the townspeople heard about the fire, they came to check on him. Some said, "Oh no, what will Daniel do now?" Others whispered, "Maybe this is the end for him." Daniel felt heartbroken, but not defeated. He stood outside his bakery and said, "This is just a challenge. I've faced struggles before, and I will face this too. I won't give up." He took a deep breath and began making a plan. He calculated how much money he had saved and realized it wasn't enough to replace all the equipment. For a moment, fear crept in. But Daniel remembered his journey, how he started with nothing but a dream and hard work. Instead of sitting and worrying, Daniel asked for help. He approached Mr. Brown, who had retired, and said, "Sir, I need advice. What would you do if you were me?" Mr. Brown smiled and said, "Daniel, you already know the answer. You've taught yourself that nothing is free. Work harder, believe in yourself, and people will believe in you too." Inspired, Daniel decided to rebuild. He didn't wait for someone to rescue him. He started baking at home again with the little equipment he had left. He told his customers, "I won't let you down. I'll keep serving you, even if it's just a small amount for now." The townspeople admired his courage. Many of them started helping him. Some donated ingredients, others gave small amounts of money, and a few offered their time to help him clean and repair the bakery. Daniel realized something important. When you work hard and never give up, people notice. They want to help someone who helps themselves. After months of hard work, Daniel reopened his bakery. It was better than ever. He painted the walls, added new decorations, and even introduced new items like cupcakes and muffins. His customers were overjoyed. On the day of the grand reopening, the town's mayor came and said, "Daniel, you are a true inspiration. You've shown us all that with determination, anything is possible." Daniel stood in front of the crowd and said, "I want to thank each one of you. You've taught me that nothing in life is free. Not success, not respect, not love. Everything must be earned with hard work, patience, and persistence. Never let failure stop you. Every challenge is just a step to something greater." From that day, Daniel's bakery didn't just sell bread. It became a powerful symbol of hope. People from other towns started visiting to meet the young man who never gave up. Daniel's story teaches us that 1. Dreams are not free. They require hard work and sacrifice. 2. Failure is not the end. It's a chance to learn and grow stronger. 3. Help yourself first. When people see your effort, they will support you. 4. Never give up. The darkest moments are often just before success. Daniel didn't just build a bakery. He built a life full of purpose, respect, and pride. And so can you. Whatever your dream is, don't stop chasing it. Remember, nothing is free, but everything is possible.